Hi, YouTube. Cheers. Happy weekend. It is a happy weekend. It's a beautiful day. It's about 40 degrees here. Just nice. Um, I'm going to talk about today about the liars in the major religions, and they know they're lying. These scholars out there that have omitted texts that should have been available to all people in the world, they know what has been changed. There's so much proof. I mean, the Catholic Church has been caught several times forging documents to be canonized. And then there's people out there. I watched exorcist Bob Larson and Amon Hillman, a philologist and historian, going head to head. I mean, well, microbiology and a lot of other um, academic achievements that Bob Larson, exorcist, doesn't have. He doesn't have the knowledge of the language of the scriptures to even speak on it, but yet he does. So, yeah, that was wonderful. I'm going to set the tempo, as far as I'm concerned, with the people I know personally, of what a real church is. The real church is truth. We don't take things that are forged and put them forth towards people and say, you're going to abide by this because this is going to make this organization they call a church money. No, the truthers out here, we're like, we want the truth. We want to see the documents that were forged, and we want to see what was first written in the original language that was taken into other religions and languages and changed. And we want to see those changes. I have proof of those changes. What the years they changed the Hebrew language to add or take away vowels in order to coin terms. That right there, look it up. That right there, that's enough to say, what? They want to coin terms that weren't there? That's right. That's what they did. So do the Catholics. The Catholics, the Hebrews, the Muslims, I could go on and on. All your major religions. So I'm setting a tempo on truth of what the true church is. Doesn't matter what denomination you are or who you are inside. The spirit of in people is the spirit of truth. Anything else is an infection, you know? So, cheers. So, us warriors out here, we're setting a tempo. We're the rhythm makers. We're like the drummer, um, setting up what the beat of the music is for everybody else. And that's called, in truth, period. Oh, yeah, that exorcist guy, he was like about ready to leave if Almond didn't mind his language and stop dropping the F bomb. And, you know, I hardly even knew of Amon much dropping the F bomb, but I could see where that would be a beautiful thing towards a priest. Uh, if I had been able to do that when I was in that Catholic girls' school, I was asking them uncomfortable questions. They hated me for that. I wanted to know why all the nuns were married to Jesus. you know, and some other weird questions that one nun actually tried to explain it to me. And Then if I ask, what the difference between Christ and Jesus was, they would say it was the same thing, which is not true because Christ is a medical term, you know. So, but she couldn't answer it, but she tried. The one lady did. So I wasn't very well received, but a friend of mine and I were asked to play our guitars in the Catholic Church, so we did. And we picked anti-war songs. One was Blowing in the Wind, and the other was Come Together. So, yeah. And some of the nuns, they were out there just rocking, they're sitting in their pews and yeah. But some other ones were over on the sidelines, like giving us the evil eye. Like, okay, yeah, they're so godly. Here we are with spirits of non-war and all this stuff, and they're singing about death and damnation in their hymns, and some pretty vocalizing in their Italian chants and whatever, that we all had to learn. What a bunch of hokey. Um, yeah, talk about brainwashing. Anyway, so yeah, I sure wish I would have had the gumption back then to really talk to those priests like I wanted to. Um, I tried talking to Rabbi. I tried talking to um, Templars, Freemasons, Shriners, Knights of Columbus. I could go on and on. Any major group and organization or religion, I tried to bring a understanding of what they thought they were doing. Now, something that really stunted my growth was the women of the Eastern Star in the Masonic Lodge. Well, a lot of people think that they're Freemasons, and even there's chapters of women in England that think they're Freemasons, but it is not the same belief system at all. And they still are affiliated with the Eastern Star, of course, those women. But when they're against, okay, if somebody praises what is death and destruction put in the world for everybody above what they would childbirth, then they could be considered anti-feminine and anti-family and anti-human, you know. So, yeah, and that's who they are. I mean, when your whole mindset is to destroy the world, um, not the same as Masons, and then you have your Freemasons that weren't even supposed to be there. Were not supposed to be any Freemasons in the United States of America. It was 1260 was the last lodge in England that was approved from the origination in China. It was the last time those documents were approved to be put forth into the new worlds. It was supposed to, Freemasonry was supposed to stop there. Masonry. And they turned it into Freemasons, a whole different thing. Not just to get information of what was kept from the people, but um, more of a control situation than it was the educational system that it had been previously, you know. So anyway, Yeah. So I thought I was thinking, played some music and um started thinking about the rhythm, the tempo, although you can have a rhythm and a tempo because you can have a dual thing within percussion, but it's all the beat, you know. But anyway, so yeah, that I'll I'll share that it was on Danny Jones with Bob Larson and Dr. Hillman, or he's not a doctor anymore. He has his doctorate, so yeah, he's a good doctor. He knows what's up, with people's chemistry and inside us and things that can change our genome or our bio selves. He's savvy on all that. Um, Upfront about it too and honest about it, where nobody from the Catholic Church is going to be teaching you about male or female chemistries and that combination, or even same-sex combinations with things that happen within our bodies. And no, you're not going to catch no priest out of a Catholic church teaching you any biology or um uh psychology, you know how human minds work. They know how it works, and they're working against people. That's what I'm fighting about. Excuse me for cutting my head off here. um yeah, but yeah, I have a hard time with any preachers. I'm an ordained minister. I'm a licensed minister, but I know what that book says, and I got licensed to be able to perform weddings. But I know what the book says, not what they want it to say. Or like look this up. Christ can't be found in the church. How about those words right there? Hold it right there. Go look it up. It's in there, you know. You're not going to hear that in a church, are you? You know, somebody could say, well, I have the Christ spirit and I go to church so Christ can be found in the church. Oh, so then you're telling me that you do not believe in one individual that is referred to as the Christ actually not being in the church, but you by proxy are taking that spirit into the church. So the scripture is wrong. Christ can be found in the church. We can't have it both ways. Which is it? Yeah. If you go up and talk to your preacher and lay that one on them, you know, even the tithings weren't meant for the common people to be giving, you know, that's a fact too. Oh, I can move this. Excuse me a minute. A little, so I'm not cutting my head off. Yeah, better. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that I could point out that churches preach that just are not true, but I'm going to let the ones with the proof. I mean, I've got my knowledge in here. I know what's true when I hear it and when it's not. And people do use me as a lie detector, you know. And I do know that, and you're right, somebody suggests that. Yes. And yes, again, I would like to see another Amen versus Bob, um, live would be great so I could get in that brain when he was trying to talk. That would be spectacular. I don't know that it'll ever happen. I mean, I know Bob Larson has live videos. He's got his script he goes by. It's not off the cuff and it's not raw, you know, like people actually do talk out in this world. I mean, so what? Who cares if somebody's going to drop the F bomb? If you're uh, professing to be such a man of God, that shouldn't even bother you if somebody else is going to do that. Shouldn't even, it wouldn't even hold a consequence in a conversation, unless there was little kids around and there's YouTube kids. This is adult conversations. So, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go home. You're making me cry. Oh, I get it. He was tarnishing your good nature. I get it. Wow. Why didn't I think of that? I'm not saying that people that have God in their heart should expose themselves to nasty crassness that is unjustified. I'm saying defenders of the lies in the guise of churches saying they're benefiting people, they deserve to be sworn at. That's the least of their worries, you know? You tell me it's okay for these people who do things to little people, taking their bishops and their fathers and putting them somewhere else, and they're never doing any kind of jail time, that you're going to defend that faith. And that's not who you are. You just defend it all. You defend the red shoes, don't you? Those blood-stained skin shoes of kids. Not children's shoes, but children's shoes. And who needs an exorcism? I got an antidote for your dumbass. Yeah, his name's Amen. Amen didn't have a chance to really speak on the things that he knew because um the little bitch was acting like he was getting interrupted when he actually wasn't, when Amen already has been, um he taught in seminary school, and so he's well versed on both sides of the fence. And so this little Larson guy didn't even really have to say anything if he wanted to hear what was and why Amen feels the way he does. He started getting into Amen's personal aspect on sexuality and his tattoos and stuff. What the does that have to do with the Septuagint originally being Greek and Greek lettering on somebody's head? So, what would that have to do with a conversation? If there, I saw somebody, which I grew up with somebody that had skull and crossbones and whatever on them, um, what, there's no conversation there? What, you're not even going to ask any questions? Or that's not a human being because, okay, because of his beliefs? Or because he can prove that the terminology that are major things in the Bible are drug terms that were from Greece. And these Catholics don't want to hear that. Messiah is a Greek word. This is not a Hebrew thing, people. This is not any Bible we grab. This is what we go with. It's not like that at all. Oh, I prefer this version because what? What? How about the truth? We don't just pick one and throw it up in the air and go with it. The truth doesn't work like that. At least anytime I've thought about it, you know, there's and it always comes out. The truth is going to come out regardless. These, and if people want to be duped into going into a building and sharing their money with some thing that wears a robe, if I put a robe on, will you send me money? Evidently, that's the way it works. Yeah. So I will share that in my community later, and you can see Almond's frustration. He's uh delving into his personal life. I would have asked Bob, when's the first time you grabbed your penis, Bob? How old were you and who were you looking at? I'd dig into his. I'd go down to the bone, to the meat of the situation. Somebody got personal with me, I'm getting personal right back. How many times you look at another woman since you've been married, huh, Bob? Oh, let me guess, you can confess your sins in your church to God and you're forgiven. Did you repent? Did you fall back on your um what would the word crusade? Oh, yes. I could even think of nastier things to say if somebody got that personal with me and be like, okay, here we go. Looking into his little beady eyes, You want some? Come and get it. Write a comment. I'm game if you are. It was enjoyable. I just felt bad because I knew that, for one, um, asking somebody why they left the church knowing they're a scholar is like asking a woman why she left an abusive marriage. It's about as stupid as that to people that are scholars. It has nothing to do that there isn't an oversoul, because there is. We know somebody made us, you know. That's not the debate with these people. It's good against evil. It's just like, if you believe a certain way, well, then you must be evil, right? I believe there's a Mr. and Mrs. God and a stupid little baby. That's my opinion from what I know personally. But, each to their own, unless it afflicts on other people. And that little fucko got way too personal with somebody I could be a friend with, you know. Talk about an antidote to the um, fake religions. The truth is the antidote, you know. I think the music's the antidote too. Yeah. Wonder if Bob would like the music I play. Probably would, but he wouldn't admit it. Yeah. That's true. Like, come on, just take your robe off and dance. It's not gonna hurt you. You're not gonna go to hell if you shake your little booty. Unless you're shaking it at one of your altar boys, I could see that might be a problem, you know. I think Satan hates those guys that have robes on and hurt little people. The same with those little black hats that do disturbing things to babies, and all that. But somehow in these texts that they changed, making it permissible for another human being to do things to little people. Hmm. And that's what we're battling. And what I mean by we're, all the rest of you warriors out there that have had enough of this passive bullshit towards people that claim a God they don't serve. They don't even believe in the truth. How could they serve the one and only? They couldn't. It's not in them. They have to be what's referred to as the Pharisees and the Sadducees. I guess the rest of us are the Church of Philadelphia then. And I'm not talking about the stupid clown that pretends he's somebody else, pretends he's Jesus, lives in Pittsburgh. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that tell the truth right up front, not 5 years later, but I'm talking about if I'm going to drop the F bomb, if you come to my channel, you're probably going to hear that out of me. So I'm not playing or pretending or holding it back for 5 years who I am and what I do. Ask me anything. I don't have anything to hide. That's one point that Bob Larson tried to get on Danny Jones. Danny's like, I'm out here every day confessing myself. Well, and Bob's like, we all have sins. And I'm like, oh, you little. Yeah, but we're not all out there talking about them, are we? Yeah. So I felt bad for Danny. It's like, yeah, he's probably done some stupid things that he doesn't have to expose himself to the world about, like other people have dug into, like Dr. Hillman's history and his attack from the church on him. Yeah. The only thing he's possessed with is he hears and feels the feminine spirit within himself as that guidance, and the male part, he knows both parts. It doesn't make him part of each. Nah, it's not like that at all. He's a well-rounded gentleman, and I use that word gentleman meaning it with all my heart because I know he is. It's not that somebody couldn't piss him off. No. And that's one of the beauteous things about it. He's not afraid to say what's on his mind, like everybody else is so guarded. They're so afraid of what people are going to think, you know. I want you to judge me. That leaves it open for me to judge you. I'm going to judge you anyway, admittedly, and not feel any qualms about it whatsoever. I'm going to wholeheartedly look at you and judge for myself what kind of integral situations you have going on inside you, period. To be able to distinguish your amount of righteousness within yourself, and everybody has that right to view other people in a judgmental way. Go for it. Who cares? I'm so sick of this. Oh, don't judge me. Oh, shut up. Come over here and judge me all you want. I don't care. So that's what's on my mind today, is setting the tempo for the warriors, the true ones that aren't going to follow faulty and forged scriptures, but actually want the truth and the proof that we are bringing forth for everybody to see. Once again, this is not to take God out of your hearts or whoever you call the oversoul. It's just to make you aware that there's liars. They're in the major religions, and we're pointing it out with proof, period. That's the way it goes. First your money, then your clothes. It's directed for the major churches there. So, anyway. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Peace and love. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at.